The South African National Civic Organisation, Sanco, has called on the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs to place defaulting municipalities owing Eskom under administration. This comes after the High Court in Pretoria ruled that Eskom is within its right to cut power to consumers and municipalities who are not paying for their services. The power utility wants to recover approximately 10.2 billion rand in debt from 8 defaulting municipalities. Now, in our Cape Town studios, we are joined by the South African National Civic Organisation spokesperson, Mr. JABU Mahlangu. A very good morning to you, Mr. Mahlangu. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, sir.
Why do you believe, Mr. Mahlangu, placing municipalities under administration is a good idea?
Well, there's history to this matter. I think it's been quite some time, could be last year or year before last, where Eskom had actually raised the issue that because of the debts by municipalities, they were planning to cut them off. As Sanco, we knew that such a decision or action would actually be very detrimental for a range of clients of Eskom, be it the poor, be it schools, be it hospitals, be it the very delivery of services, water. If electricity were to go, actually it's going to be chaos behind the cut. So our view at the time was that Eskom should look at other options, see how they strengthen their credit management between themselves and the municipalities. We called on municipalities to enter into agreements with Eskom and indicate as to how and when are they going to settle it. And we've also been saying to our communities, please honor your commitments to municipalities and pay. Now, in view of the recent court decision and Eskom contemplating to cut the services, we felt as Sanco that indeed we are left with no option but to call on COCTA as well as Treasury to intervene in terms of the Section 139 of the Constitution, where they take over the responsibility, not the whole municipality, zoom into the area of finance, look at whether indeed those municipalities do not get revenue. If they not, what is the problem with their credit system? And how do we make sure that there's honoring by municipalities to the debts with Eskom? And because Eskom also has got a responsibility to its creditors. So there's a whole chain that needs to be resolved. And our view as Sanco is that we have been asking municipalities to do that. And if there is no movement from municipalities, surely you should then resort to other measures. We know that Section 126 of the Constitution does, give an obligation to provinces or Treasury to assist municipalities. But beyond assistance, if there's no assistance, you go to a higher measure of assistance, that of taking over and cleaning the system and make sure that the necessary credit systems are in place and there is, and that municipalities honor their obligations to the creditors.
Administration, that's one thing. Thank you for talking to us about that. Cutting off electricity to people living in these municipalities is something completely different. That deadline is the 19th, which is next week. What's your message to those people that have paid their electricity up until now, the businesses that are up to date and have paid their dues, but they're facing severe setbacks next week?
Well, if I had paid my debts to municipality, I have utensils in my house. I have fridges. I've got whatever services that I'm dependent on Eskom, I have paid. I have recourse. So there's going to be a lot of lawsuits between residences that have honored their obligation to Eskom and, to municipalities, and those municipalities to lead to a situation where people get cut off. So it's going to be quite a big chaos, and that's why in our view, the intervention is something that could actually help stabilize the situation, because I just don't want to see a situation where people die in clinic and hospitals because electricity has been cut. People get involved in accidents because robots are not working. People get sick because water cannot be cleaned and water cannot be supplied. And remember, water is a constitutional obligation. Municipalities have got a constitutional obligation to supply people with water. I mean, there is a myriad of problems that are going to unfold owing to the cutting of electricity. And municipalities would be in worse situation than they are, where you have to settle your debt. So, once the things are cut and there's litigation, it's actually going to be worse than anything else we've seen before.
In conclusion, we are here. We've travelled here by some way. How did we get here? Who's responsible for this debt crisis that we have in South Africa?
Well, municipalities should take the flag. If you have a contract with me as a consumer and I am not paying, you have a right to cut me off, and which they do. So municipalities should invoke their authority and power. And as much as Eskom should also get what is due to him or her. And if municipalities don't own up, Eskom has an obligation to take action. Eskom has an obligation to funding agencies. If he doesn't pay, he gets downgraded, but also they can take legal actions against him. So let's clean the system. Let's make sure that we don't get there. There are many irregularities that could be there. The gentleman that was talking earlier on from Salga says that there is a leakage of about 20 or 30% from supply before they grant the services to come in. Why do we have that leakage? Because if we can close that leakage, we have saved. So in other words, we know the problem, but why are we not acting on it? If there's a leakage, where is the leak? Is the leak between Eskom and municipalities or municipalities and the clients? Go deal with the leakage. If there is, people who are contravening the supply arrangement, reconnecting illegally, municipalities must act on those people.
Mr. Mahlangu, we've run out of time, unfortunately.
Consequences for clients.
Sorry to cut your word there, so I apologize, but we've run out of time. You're right. Next week, we'll see what comes out the woodwork with the leakages that you're talking about. Hopefully, we can speak again, and the news will be a little bit more positive for the people who will be affected. Thank you very much. That's JABU Mahlangu. He is the spokesperson for the South African National Civics Organization, coming to you live from our Cape Town studios. We've been running this poll since the start of the show. We've been asking you, should Eskom just cut the electricity supply to defaulting municipalities?